Welcome to that GD Show Christmas special or holiday special. I like to say Christmas though because Mr. Trump, the former guy, made it legal to say Merry Christmas again. But prior to him, you couldn't say it. You couldn't say it prior to him, and he brought it back. So Merry Christmas, everyone. This is our Christmas show. Hey, Genevieve, how are you?
I am so great. I'm so happy to be here with all of our friends.
All of our friends. As you viewers, you may notice there's a lot of people on the screen tonight, and that's by design. They didn't just bust in here. They were all invited on this special Christmas show. And so I'm going to just take a quick minute to introduce everyone. By the way, we're not taking calls tonight. There's so many of us that everyone on this screen has no trouble talking. And so we figured that if all of us want to talk about Christmas stuff that we're going to talk about tonight, we really wouldn't be able to take calls and weave those into the conversation like we normally do. But if you have a question or a comment that you would like to talk about or include in the conversation, just put it in the chat and we will be watching the chat. And if your comment is really special, or if you have a really good question, we may select it to talk about. So welcome, everyone. Let me introduce everyone. Genevieve, of course, my wonderful co-host.
Y'all know me by now.
Genevieve just gave us a view of her Charlie Brown plant that looks dead, but is very much alive, she tells us. Yeah. So she says.
That's right.
It's my sweet baby Jesus. You just can't keep it down.
He's coming back.
It's coming back, I promise. Doesn't
All
look
right.
like it.
I'm going to introduce Oz with the LA hat. Say hello.
What's up, everybody? I'm ready to get lit with Dave Warnock.
Oh, God.
Yo.
Oh, boy.
He wants me to say we're going to get fucking lit. So I just said it. And it's recorded. So there we go.
Boom.
Promise just left the room. So we're going to go to the other. We're going to start over with Rion. Hello.
Hello. Hi there.
And Rion, that's not your real name, is it? But we're going to call you.
No, it is not
Rion.
my real name. Yep.
And Rion has a plethora
works.
of plants behind her.
Yes. Got a little garden back here. Garden of Eden, if you will.
What's the sign say?
Spread the love.
Spread the love. There you go.
Spread the love, spread the legs. Spread the love.
Here we go. It's that kind of show, folks. And Kristi Burke, say hello.
Hello. Hi. I'm happy to be here. This is awesome.
Kristi's got a Christmas tree behind. Look at Kristi and then Promise. Hey, Promise.
I know. You guys are festive.
So, you're muted. There we go. I
had to grab my headphones because I realized it was just going to be echoing them. But hi.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's great. Well, hello. So what we're going to do tonight, we're just going to talk about Christmas stuff. And I want to ask each of our guests, panelists tonight, their history of Christmas and what it's like, where they came out of. Now, as you know, Genevieve, you didn't come out of Christianity. You didn't come out of any cults like we did.
No, I did not. We did celebrate Christmas, but we never did the sweet baby Jesus, the reason for the season. And we also didn't do the Santa stuff. Like all of our presents just said from mom and dad, which I really loved growing up, because the funniest thing was just opening a present that said from mom and dad, and my dad saying, "Oh, that's really cool. Who is that from?" So that's kind of like the secular tradition in a lot of families. I know I'm not alone in that, but
so you didn't have any of the fairy tales. It was all just this is how life is, and this is the truth.
Yeah,
God, how boring. Jesus.
I know. I know. Somebody reached out to me about wanting to do an interview on their channel, and I was like, I'm not very interesting.
That is
it's
so
very,
not true.
Not
Well,
true.
as you know, back in the day, Oz, you can remember this. You didn't have a testimony. You know, if you were in the Jesus movement, you had to have a testimony. I was saved from drugs and sex, and so the people that were just kind of grew up in a Christian home, they just always felt bad that they didn't have a testimony. Remember that, Oz?
Oh, absolutely. Your
Yeah.
testimony.
How stupid is that? Anyway, Oz, what is your, briefly, I'm going to ask, just everybody, their background, how you were raised, what you came out of in terms of religion of any kind, and then what Christmas was like then and now, and about how long you've been out, that sort of stuff. So what is your background briefly?
I will do my best here with brevity. So I grew up very fundamental, evangelical, charismatic. Most of the, I guess, family tree or ministers or pastors or something of some sort. And as far as Christmas, yeah, that's the day on the calendar. Like, that's Jesus' birthday.
Yeah.
That's the motherfucking day. Like,
that's the day you get fucking lit.
Yeah, that's
yo.
and
You gotta say yo, Genevieve. You gotta say yo. We're gonna get lit.
I'm not cool enough for that. I admit.
I'm really
Continue,
not
Oz,
either.
please.
My white is really showing.
Yeah, it was like, I remember before no, we'd eat breakfast, but before any stockings, like any of that shit was touched, someone was reading the Jesus story.
Yeah.
The birth. And,
which one?
Don't start, Rion. Don't start.
Great
We'll get into that.
Which one?
I'm trying to be brief. And
She can't help herself.
No, I get it. And we would have to do that, and that was, even more than it just being, a special family day. Of course, it had this huge focus on the divinity,
The birth of Christ. It's all about Jesus.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was shoved and force fed down our throats every single December 25th.
Yeah. Much the same. Yeah. How about you, Rion? You are your former faith.
Well, I was a Jehovah's Witness, so we did not celebrate any holidays, especially Christmas, because venerating Jesus would just be pure idolatry. So not having that.
So tell me why that was a forbidden thing in the JWs, because didn't they consider Jesus the Savior?
That's Jesus is important. He brought the gospel in a sense, but if you are to venerate him, that is putting somebody else before God. They just believe that Jesus is a prophet
Jehovah
and a son of God, but not.
Yeah. It's all about Jehovah. Yeah, the big dog.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of weird, but I guess I get it.
Yeah, I guess so. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little silly though. You can read a book about it over and over, but not.
As a kid, were you jealous of your friends who got to celebrate Christmas? Do you remember feeling that?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think I was a little bit. I did get to celebrate once, kind of. My parents let my family give me gifts, but that was like a whole argument I had to watch unfold. So
oh my God.
That was my one real experience with Christmas. So yeah. Not really.
Okay. Kristi, Burke, you were fairly fundamental also.
Oh yes, I was raised in the Southern Baptist evangelical movement.
Amen.
So
good little Baptist girl. Yeah.
Praise the Lord. No, Christmas was, I had very fond memories of Christmas growing up. But we definitely, centered it around Jesus being the reason. We would bake a birthday cake the night before and sing happy birthday to Jesus and, have a big party.
Have that.
Yeah, we did that. We definitely did that. And then, we'd wake up on Christmas morning and we'd read the Christmas story. And I remember I always felt so guilty in my little, 8-year-old, 9-year-old mind. I always felt so guilty that I just wanted to get through the Christmas story and open my damn presents.
Yeah. Can we
It's
hurry
I
up
know
with
we
the
have
Jesus
to read
shit?
this, but
Yeah.
no, let's just open the presents, please. So yeah.
Now,
But
did
it was-
did either of you, no Santa Claus in your house, right, Kristi?
There was actually, we did the Santa Claus thing, and my parents really talked it up. But when I was 5 years old, this is like trauma here, people. I was on the bus and I was talking about Santa Claus bringing me presents that year. And a little girl turned around on the bus and like looked through the crack of the seat, and she was like, there's no such thing as Santa Claus, right?
Oh, it's
And
always
I am
one of
telling
those.
you, I have held a grudge my entire life. And then she ended up marrying my cousin. So
Oh my God.
And now do you see her at Christmas?
I don't know. I haven't seen
Okay.
her in a very long time,
Okay.
but I still hold a grudge.
Yeah.
Let it go, Kristi. Let it go.
I'm trying.
She
Real
stole
quick,
it.
Kristi reminded me of something that I completely spaced, and then it's probably my brain blocking it out. But my mom would tell my brother and I that Santa Claus worked for Jesus.
Wait,
I may have heard
Was he
That's
like
a
a
convenient way to
contractor?
intertwine them.
Was he a contractor? Was he employee or
I think it was
1099 or how'd that work?
1099. Yeah, 1099.
Subcontractor? Okay. And Promise, how about you?
I wasn't allowed to believe
There
in
we go.
Santa Claus.
You were
did
very
believe-
fundamentalist.
We like sang happy birthday to Jesus. I grew up evangelical, non-denominational, charismatic. So we were like the cool weird ones.
Yeah.
and-
The cool weird ones.
Yeah. So I wasn't allowed to believe in Santa Claus, but we also did like a lot of typical traditions. And then the really like evangelical charismatic part is there's a ministry called Morning Star with Rick Joyner, and I don't know if anybody's heard of his. Yeah. And he had a book, and I don't remember. It was The Final Quest. And that is what my family would read. We would read the Christmas story sometimes, but we would read this like prophetic angel story every Christmas Eve, and it was wild. And then I was a pastor's daughter, so I did the typical like I was Mary in the play, and I would have to sing. And I remember being 12 years old with this pillow stuffed up my shirt, being like, "This is weird." So
that's probably about how old she was.
We're around the same age as Mary.
That was weird. So that was my upbringing with Christmas. It was pretty traditional, minus Santa and plus some super weird stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't raised in Christianity. I came into it as an 18-year-old vulnerable teenager. But I remember we didn't do Santa with our kids. I remember saying I did not want to, if I told them about Santa and they found out that wasn't true, then are they going to also wonder about what I've told them about Jesus? So I only wanted to tell them what was really true, which is that Jesus was born of a virgin. So I was right.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, that's where my head was, though. I mean, my God.
Isn't that ironic?
By the way, I see some in the chat. Super chat's not working. The problem is I've had problem with the monetization of my channel, and I've been put in timeout until I can get that squared away. So if you want to support the show, just send cash in the mail. No.
You have Patreon.
Yeah.
Come on, don't send cash in the mail.
No, you can do Patreon or PayPal. All the stuff's in the links. But yeah, I appreciate you wanting to do that. If you do have a comment that you want read on the air, go ahead and do that, and we'll read it. But I'm sorry about the super chat's not active right now because I've got to get the verification figured out. Whatever's wrong.
Dave, we pray for checks in the mail, not cash.
Oh, that's what it was. I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember how that worked because I never ever got one.
Me neither.
No, Patreon and PayPal are great. We don't accept thoughts and prayers. They don't actually give us anything. So just refrain.
Let me see if there's any notes here.
I just real quick, I do have a funny Christmas story from my childhood because like I said, we didn't have any magic around it. It was just like a time for us to get a tree and decorate the house and get cool gifts and stuff. But I did go to a performing arts school for all of my elementary school. It was like this private school, and we would do a huge performance of the Nutcracker, and we also moved to this new church, this new like school building that used to be a Catholic boys' school and was right across the street from this Catholic church. So we would do a handbell and like old Christmas song performance sort of thing. I can't remember any of the lyrics now. It was mostly Latin. But I remember the first time we went there for one of these Christmas performances, I think I was around 7 years old. And I walked into this church, and it was really my first time going to a church for this Christmas show. And I'm sorry, it was fucking terrifying. It was so, like, this is my first time seeing, like, a life-size statue of Jesus on the cross that wasn't just in stone. Like, it was painted. There was blood. His
God.
face just
There
looked
was blood.
like, yeah.
For
Sounds glorious.
It was, and
Yeah.
and that's not even the worst part. I mean, something that I do have to give the Catholics is that they're
But
amazing.
the Christmas thing's supposed to be about the baby Jesus, not the bloody Jesus.
One would
Right?
think, but they don't swap
Just
out the
born Jesus.
decorations just for Christmas. But the other thing
Oh
too
my
is,
God.
you know, I there's not a whole lot I can say about the Catholics, but they have amazing architecture, and this is a very detailed church, and even
Yeah,
the
they're beautiful.
columns on
They
either
got the
side
money.
too. They do.
Exactly.
There was these faces that were sort of carved into the top of the columns where you would expect any sort of the molding or dentile work, and it was just these faces that were just kind of staring down at the pews in agony. And I was old enough that I had been through English classes. I understood how to like read subtext and sort of like take away the message of a story that wasn't necessarily apparent. And walking in there, like I was in 4th grade, walking in there, I was like, oh, they're here to scare us. Like I am scared, and that is not on accident. And I brought this up to my mom, and she said, I know, they do this on purpose. Let's just get in and get out.
Yeah.
And it was my Christmas performance.
We always looked
Wow.
down on the Catholics because they had Jesus on the cross and all their crosses, and I knew that Jesus had come down off that cross and he was
Right.
raised.
Oh,
Right.
He ain't there no more. He ain't there no more.
Well, yeah. So, promise, are you the only one in your family? You have 4 sisters or 3 sisters? You got a delay there on your yeah. When you start, okay, go ahead.
Sisters and 1 brother.
Okay, are you the only one who has deconstructed at this point?
Yep.
Wow.
My parents are prominent evangelical ministers, so they're very public. They have a huge following right now. My dad's in Newsweek and Politico and stuff all the time as like
wow.
a Trump prophet. Yeah,
Mhm.
so
Oh,
it's not just like personally upsetting to them, it's offensive to their entire ministry that I am who I am.
And
oh
you're
my
not
gosh.
and you're not quiet about it. You're out there.
I tried to be, I couldn't be. So here
So
Good for you.
how's that going to be at Christmas time? What's this going to look like?
I am sitting in the comfort of my own home, not going out of it.
Oh, you're not going. Okay.
I'm not. I've kept boundaries with holidays. And for me right now, that looks like not spending Christmas with my family. It's just not a positive experience for my heart. And so
No, I appreciate that.
I don't
That's
do that.
good
Yeah.
for you.
My mom sent, I see him right over here. She sent stockings for my partner and I to open up on Christmas that will open, and I might FaceTime them. But I can be like that.
Are they mad? Are they mad or sad about that? I mean, obviously they would like for you to be there. So what's their reaction?
They're sad. And I'm equally sad that we're at this point that we can't, come together. And for us, it's not even over religion as much as my to upset them more. They're QAnoners, they're right wingers, Trumpers. So that comes up more than religion does. But it also is uncomfortable. They're like doing church messages, or not church messages, but they do, lives like this every single morning with Bible studies and stuff. And my sisters all work for them full time. And their husbands work for my parents' ministry. So it's like,
wow.
My
I am the
goodness.
odd one out. I'm the only one not.
How did you
not
survive? How did you make it?
I don't really know. I mean, TikTok
Well,
helps a lot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm familiar with the the strain of religion your parents are in. In fact, we found out, Promise and I found out that her dad is best friends with another prophetic minister. They love to call themselves prophetic ministers.
Not best friends. They know each other. But
Oh,
I
they're not-
don't know that it's so funny because Christians can't even get on the same page with each other, even when they're in the same circle. So
Nope.
It's true.
So I think they may have not, maybe they're not so on the
Okay.
same page anymore, but they know each other. Yeah.
Either way, yeah, this guy that I used to be on staff with at a church in Arkansas, Larry Randolph, who's now got this big prophetic ministry, which when they say prophetic ministries, that means they go in these meetings and they start telling people what God's doing in their lives and what God's saying to them. It's like fortune telling, basically.
I get the Lord.
Yeah. And so he's their friends. And that whole Bethel church ministry, all that stuff, it's really out there. It's the batshit crazy version of evangelicalism, if you're not familiar with it.
I think one of the headlines of one of the articles he has is he believes that your relationship with God is directly tied to how much you support Trump.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
Oz. There you go, Oz.
So it's like take normal
No.
Christian dynamics. It's already difficult as an atheist to, find common ground with family. And then add that. Because like, even if I was a Christian, even when I was a Christian, I was not living up to that. I mean, it's different.
So I feel like, and it won't take a bunch of time, but Promise and you and I could probably talk for hours and hours, because literally my mom passed in July, but leading up to that, she would send me link after link after link of why Trump is like the next Messiah and why yada. And like you say, that's why I did it. Like, not a shock, but like, oh fuck, there's somebody else that got that shit.
Yeah.
Had to deal with it.
Beginning of the pandemic, I was visiting my family in the mountains, got stuck up there for 40 days and 40 nights, and I counted, stuck in a cabin with my entire family. And my mom was like, I will pay you to watch YouTube videos of basically QAnon stuff. I don't even remember what they were called, but she was going to pay me to watch the YouTube videos that were proving that, QAnon, the cabal was real.
Hey, I'd take the money.
I'd take it.
Tried. So I did try, and I was like, cool.
Take the money.
I will take the money, and I literally couldn't make it through them. I was like, I am so sorry. I'm broke. I need the money. I still can't do this.
I would take the money, get drunk as hell,
Was there
take the money, get drunk,
just
and
take a
just
lot of
laugh
notes.
your way through it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was there like a quiz at the end? Is it something that you could have like spark noted? I don't know if they do spark notes for conspiracy theories, but it would have come in handy.
I would take the money and live stream that shit and just laugh my way through it. We're gonna get back to
it more.
Exactly. up the ante, Mom. $100 an hour. Let's go. But I want to get back to other stories. We got a couple of questions. Genevieve, let's see. Did you see? Okay, Anton says, there we go. I have a question, Genevieve. I was told by a Christian that Christmas was anti-biblical. What do you guys think of that?
Ask the Jehovah's Witness.
Well, there you go. See, she's way ahead of the game.
They would agree that Christmas is anti-biblical because, again, it's venerating somebody other than the God of the Hebrew Bible, and there is pagan connections to the celebration of that day. So therefore, technically, it would be anti-biblical according to the Hebrew Bible.
What were you taught about the pagan origins of a lot of the Christmas stuff?
I think they talked to, I don't know how thorough they were. I mean, I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure they touched on Saturnalia and venerating the sun and things like that. So, I mean, they've got some of the research down, especially if they have a point to prove the research, but that's about it. So yeah, they're pretty aware that it's completely pagan. And even though you feel as though traditionally you're going to be worshiping Jesus, technically the root of it would be Satan. And he created that holiday to trip you up.
I see.
Got ya.
Gotcha.
Gotcha, bitch.
Well, what are your other thoughts? Anybody else on not even, because Anton says it wasn't a JW though, it was a Baptist something. But
That's
so what are the thoughts of even other evangelical Christians concerning Christmas being anti-biblical?
Well,
Oz?
I'll say, sorry, go ahead, Kristi. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I was raised Baptist, and we definitely didn't think it was anti-biblical at all. But I mean, I would say personally that it's anti-biblical just because it's not, the Bible doesn't say to celebrate Jesus's birthday.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about trees or decorations or, you know, even celebrating the birth of Jesus in any type of, you know, event. And since Christmas has pretty much been turned into a capitalist holiday, I'd say it's very anti-biblical, very anti-Jesus, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Well, didn't we make excuses for giving presents because the wise men brought gifts to Jesus?
Yeah.
Wasn't that?
Yeah.
That's what I was
think that was
told.
the intention. Yeah.
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 Really.
And looking back at it, as an evangelical, like we used it just as another way to promote the faith, to recruit and to, you know, do all those things. But looking back at it now and even understanding the historical definitions of the original text, the word alma or virgin isn't even virgin. It's a young woman of age to bear, you know. And so when we look back at it, whether it's wrong or right, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. You know, that did not happen. And also Jesus is a myth. So fuck that.
Well, the idea that Jesus, I mean, if you look at the heart of the gospel, there has to be original sin, first of all, in the Garden of Eden. We talked about that last week with our Christian guest. I don't know how many of you saw that show, but it was painful on several levels. But if you don't have original sin, if Adam and Eve is not a true story and a real thing, then you don't have Paul's doctrine of in Adam all become are born into sin, and then Christ all are made free. So we don't have the second Adam in Romans. And so the whole thing falls apart if Adam and Eve isn't legit, if they're not lit.
And they were definitely not lit.
And then if you don't have a virgin birth, then you've got Christ as the seed of man, of the fallen race of man. And so he's not holy, he's not sinless, because all are born sinful according to the gospel story. So you've got to make a lot of shit up to make the pieces fit together, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's called mythology, everyone. That's why it's called mythology.
Mythmas.
Mythmas. I like that.
Mary Myth.
That works.
Mary Myth. I'd have a lift.
Excuse me.
Genevieve, your thoughts on the Christmas story being anti-biblical?
I mean,
you've done a lot of research on this.
I wouldn't say I've done a lot of research on this, but I will say that the only reason why we celebrate Christmas is because Christians wanted to bring more people into the fold to believe in Jesus. And what better way to do that than to sort of weave your own beliefs into the traditions of the people that already exist. And that's celebrating the winter solstice. Absolutely. It honestly reminds me of a conversation I had with a friend of mine who had done a lot of, you know, Christian mission trips. And we were talking about her trips to Africa. And I was asking her, like, don't you think that's a little presumptuous and kind of rude or you know, colonizing to go to somebody else's country on another continent and tell them that all of the traditions that they have held for centuries are wrong, and that you're here to deliver something that's better? And something that she said was, oh no, it's perfect, because the story of Jesus and being a Christian doesn't invalidate the traditions that you hold. I mean, they have demons and spirits. We're just here to tell them that those spirits are actually demons of the devil, of Lucifer, of Satan in the Bible. So we're just illuminating the truth of their past. And in a sense, it's kind of how I see Christmas, appropriating all of the pagan traditions. I don't know if they really thought about that in the same way. I think it was, in part, perhaps I'm saying this just because Rome, it doesn't seem like it was something that, in my eyes, was like a very genuine belief. But it's like, if Boss Man says, "Hey, everybody, we're Christians now," then all these soldiers are going to be like, "All right, I guess that's the new marching orders."
I want to keep my job here. Yeah,
it seems almost like a business decision to appropriate these traditions. And as far as it being anti-biblical, I mean, like Kristi said, the Bible doesn't say to celebrate Jesus' birthday, and nor is there any indication that he was born in December. He was
Exactly.
most likely born in spring if there's shepherds
Mhm.
looking over their flocks, and if there's a census, you know, Rome was pretty smart about their governing. They wouldn't have had people travel or do these
None of
things
that
in the
makes
winter
sense.
time. It makes no sense.
No,
No.
no, and you got the whole Nazareth and Bethlehem, and there's just so many.
Yeah, where is he
Yeah.
from? Is he from Bethlehem or from
so many
Nazareth? Which one? I'm so
confliction-
confused.
conflicting stories.
Those
Yeah.
goddamn Romans.
Damn.
So
Fucking Romans.
I've seen. Hey, Genevieve, if you'll check the because I can't keep up with the comments, but if you'll check them and see if there's any questions or things we need to address.
Hey, Dave,
Just briefly, everyone. Other than Oz, I've met all of these ladies through TikTok this year. So if you aren't following them, and the reason they're here is because with each one, and Genevieve, you know our story. We connected on TikTok, and I was very impressed with her content. And I must say, I have been equally impressed with each of these others, Rion, Kristi, and Promise. If you're not following them on TikTok, ladies, what is your handle on TikTok? Each of you. Promise, what's yours? Go. Wait, you got a delay there. Say it again.
Was framed. So Eve was framed. And everyone's probably
Eve underscore was framed. Got it.
weirded out because nobody knows that my name is Promise. Not that I've kept it a secret or anything. It's just people started assuming my name was Eve. So I was like, cool. That's a lot easier to explain than my name is a freaking word because my parents are evangelical pastors. So
What are your sisters' names? Give me those.
My sisters, oh gosh, hopefully they don't get mad that I'm saying this. It's Justice, Grace, and Glory. So
There
we
you
have
go.
all the evangelical names.
I just felt the
Really?
I just felt the Holy Ghost right there.
So did I.
My name is Promise Joy. So
Oh my gosh.
Double down.
Double
Yeah.
Your
whammy.
parents are going for like an evangelical bingo card, I swear.
please get asked. I mean,
Promise don't
anytime
make- Go ahead. I'm sorry. You go.
my name, people are like, are your parents hippies? I'm like, no, worse. Pastors.
Worse.
I was gonna
Christian
say,
hip.
if
So-
Promise make it to heaven, none of us are.
Yep. Follow her. Eve underscore was framed. Eve was framed. I love that, by the way. Kristi, what is yours?
Mine's easy. It's just Kristi Burke.
Okay.
Kristi.Burke. Yep, that's
Kristi
easy.
Burke.
Easy enough.
Follow her. And then Rion?
Mine is tax.the.churches. Right now, that account is under ban. So I'm on.
What have you done now?
They just reported me for nothing. Honestly,
Telling the
I
truth.
promise you, it was nothing. Yeah, they just they found the video, reported it. Unfortunately, TikTok let it go through. So what are you gonna do?
That's the funny thing on TikTok. It's weird. The Christians get all upset when we point out the fallacies of their faith, and then they mass report us, and you get put on timeout or banned. I've had one video suspended, but I've appealed it and it came back, but I haven't been banned yet. I guess I don't put out that much content though.
Yeah, they're not after you yet. Just wait.
Not yet.
Just
I know.
wait.
And Dave,
So
I've
go ahead.
I've only been on TikTok for 3 years, but thanks for asking.
Well, what's yours, Oz?
I'm kidding. I have TikTok hates me. So
I don't think you. I don't see much of yours.
Well, I gave up on doing atheist content on there because TikTok literally fucking hates me. So
Okay.
Now I just do hip hop and DJ shit.
Well, that's what I thought. That's why I didn't mention yours. So anyway,
I'm messing around.
I know you are. And Genevieve, yours is Genevieve's TikTok. Everybody knows that, I think. Yeah.
Super, super easy.
So, Kristi, what's Christmas going to be look like for you? Is your family all evangelical except you?
Yeah. I am the only person in a very large family who is a non-believer. So that's fun. I've always liked to be the black sheep. I have been since I was a kid, on all the issues. But this year, Christmas is going to be spent with friends and chosen family. And I'm really excited about that because for many years, I kind of catered to my family's traditions and what they wanted to do. And, and then you get divorces and you're, going to multiple families at once. And, so this year we don't have to do any prayers. We don't have to do any the Jesus story. We can cuss as much as we want and drink and be merry. And that's what
we'll drink and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Yeah. That's what the Bible says.
Yeah, right. But I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really nice to kind of start doing our own traditions. My husband and I have been married for a couple of years. We've been together for a decade or more, actually. And we've always had to, to cater to the family stuff. So now I'm really excited to do our own thing and not involve Jesus at all.
Now, does your family live close, or is that a...
No, and I'm pretty much no contact with most of my family. Some of it's due to the religious stuff, some other, other things too. But I don't really live close to them. I don't plan on seeing anybody for Christmas, and I think that's the way it needs to be.
It's best for
sad.
everyone.
Just like Promise said, it's sad for all parties, and unfortunately, I think when you unfortunately have to like cut your family off and move on with your life, it seems to them as though you're just having a great old time, but it is a very sad thing. Yeah. And it's not fun. It's not easy, but sometimes it's the best thing.
Yeah, it's difficult. I've got a lot of family separation, and not like estranged, but I've only got one daughter who is still estranged from me. But the others, the convenient thing is I don't live close to any family, even my mom and brothers and sister and kids. So I don't have to worry about, if they live down the street, it'd be a problem. So I don't have to worry about whether we're going to engage in the high holy holidays, and I'm going to have to listen to their prayers. And, that I went through some years like that, and it's difficult. And I know a lot of our viewers, I know a lot of people this time of year get stressed, and it's traumatizing when you know you're going to have to be back in those situations, and you're going to be the odd man out. You're going to be the one in the room of Christians that's not feeling comfortable. And it's hard. It's hard to feel like you can be authentic and be yourself without pissing everybody off. And then you're hoping to avoid those uncomfortable conversations. What about you, Rion? What's your family situation coming up? Well, you don't have Christmas issues, so
yeah, we don't really. I mean, as far as like me and my intermediate family, we celebrate Christmas now, but it's not a big deal to us. We're not like, oh God, get up the tree and whatnot like that. We just kind of do it because it's tradition. So yeah, I mean, back when the kids were young and I was still kind of like a Jehovah's Witness, that was difficult because I had so much guilt. Every time the holidays came around, I just felt like, oh my God, I'm going to die any minute. I'm going to take my kids with me because I'm celebrating these holidays. Yeah. So it really wasn't fun. I'm so glad to not have to carry that burden.
So you really felt like when you started celebrating Christmas, did that guilt stay with you? Like you really felt like you were doing something wrong?
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
For how long? How long basically?
20 years. I mean, as long as I
wow.
did. Yeah. I just thought, oh God, I'm definitely going to burn for this.
Well, how long have you been?
I didn't believe in hell, but I just thought that I would probably not make it to the new system. So
the new system, I love that.
Yeah,
God, that sounds so weird. How long have you been out, by the way?
Well, the last time I stepped foot into a Kingdom Hall was 7 years ago, I would say, but I didn't start deconstructing till about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. So rather new.
So it is. Yeah. It's kind of new.
Yeah. But I mean, as soon as I realized when my daughter had mentioned it to me, it's like, hey mom, I think that the Jehovah's Witnesses are a cult. It's like, what? You think they're a cult? And I always think my children are just so smart. So I was like, really? And she told me about this TV show and cults and extreme beliefs, I think it was. And I watched that, and the Jehovah's Witnesses were on there along with Scientology. And I think the Moonies were on there and a few other cults. And I was like, oh my God, they're lumping the Jehovah's Witnesses in with these other people like, this
We
is
did.
not good.
Yep.
We a cult. It's
Yep.
a cult.
It's a cult.
It's a cult.
Are you
Yeah.
familiar? Yeah, I asked you this. I think I asked you this before. You're familiar with Lloyd Evans?
Yes, I love Lloyd Evans.
Did Lloyd help you get out?
When I first started watching Lloyd Evans, I was still so protective of the Jehovah's Witnesses. You have to understand, even though for 5 years I was really not a part of them, I still was very protective of them. And if you asked me about them, I would say, oh, they have it right. It was just too hard for me. I'm not good enough to be a part of it. So you still want to protect the organization. That's how you're trained.
Right.
So when I would watch Lloyd Evans, I'd be like, that's not true. They don't believe that. They don't. And then I would go and look and be like, oh my God, their doctrine has changed. They do believe that now. Like, so many things had changed within such a short time span. Yeah. So it took me a while to really grow to like him, but now I love him. So,
yeah. We got to meet at Bethel's Forum a couple months ago.
That's
Great
awesome.
guy.
Yeah.
And Oz, you met Lloyd. Yeah. Oz, what about your Christmas? What's it looking like for you this year?
Shit.
Yeah.
This one, and I'm lucky I can put a little bit of a smile on my face. Or I guess I'm grateful that I can. With losing my mom this last July.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's been brutal for a couple of reasons, and I will try to keep this short. But so Christmas was even if we take the religion out of it, even with her grandbabies, like Christmas was everything, making cookies, doing all that, and just those memories. Those memories are probably more important to me with watching my kids with her than any of my memories, growing up were. And I know how close I am to, my 88-year-old grandma, and I always wanted that for my kids. So that part fucking sucks, and then in my mom's passing, the way everything was handled, being the Kristi in my family, the ultimate black sheep.
Yeah.
And just kind of, and they kind of play coy and like they're ignorant to what they're doing, but not being inclusive at all, and not even getting basic invitations and things like that. And so I decided on Thanksgiving, and then now on Christmas, I'm just gonna stay home.
Good for you.
Stay home. It's not worth it for me to go and deal with that, because I'm the type, like, I can only probably take like one, maybe two comments or a little passive aggressive nudges before I just start reading people, their act, and then the whole fucking holiday is ruined. Right?
You get fucking lit, don't you, bro?
I get fucking lit. Times 4.
My goal is to see how many times I can say that.
We should make it a drinking game.
Drinking game.
Drink.
Every time Dave says lit, have a drink.
I know. Oz, we don't have your music that you always have on your channel. But
Shut.
I mean, I got my sound.
So you've got a brother who's an evangelical pastor right in your same town, right? But you do have Aunt Kathy. I saw Aunt Kathy in the chat. So you got one family member that gets you.
Absolutely.
So there's that. Yeah. And sometimes that's all it takes, is that one person that's got your back.
Yeah.
And if it's
as far as that experience is concerned, and understanding what it's like coming out of that, and then experiencing, it was brutal, man. It was fun.
I know.
And Dave, you and I talked privately, many times, about that was probably one of the most difficult, 90 days of my
yeah.
life.
You come through it strong. You had some rough times, but I want to applaud you, bro. Your strength got you through, not the Lord, not some prayers and shit. It's you. Yeah. It's me. It's us that does the hard work to get us better and to get us through stuff. And every one of us in this room have dealt with that. Everyone, Genevieve, you lost your dad just a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's still tough. I know that for you and your mom. So you're strong.
Yeah. I definitely, I do want to talk about that, because Oz, I do know how you feel about it. Sucks. It totally sucks. But it was funny. I was thinking a little bit earlier about how, I was talking to an evangelical friend of mine when I really first started getting into diving into sort of right-wing American Christianity to figure out what was going on. Because like I said, I didn't grow up with any of this. I moved to like small town North Carolina and I was like, wait, hold the phone. Wait, this is what people think? Like, holy crap. Oh my gosh. Like it was a total mind fuck. And yet when I hear stories from my other friends, I mean, like Rion, Kristi, Promise, like then I realize that the people who shocked me are honestly pretty tame in many ways, even though they believe in a young earth and evolution is bullshit and yada yada. Like they're still, I mean, they're family. They're really cool. And since I don't feel triggered by a lot of the Jesus stuff because it wasn't something that tormented me for so long, feeling all the complexities around the guilt of either feeling like I wasn't a good Christian or going through deconversion, I didn't go through any of that. So the holidays are kind of fine. But I remember telling this evangelical friend of mine about all the hardships that I went through in life. Not just, this was before I lost my dad. This was just, deciding to drop out of college and like move across the country and having no plan and like sleeping on buses and sort of like really tumbling through life. And I never thought that I got through it because of the strength of Jesus. Like I got through it because of people like my dad and my friends and my family and my own strength. And I feel like when you believe that Jesus is the one who is the only reason you can do anything, it takes away a lot of your own power. It takes away a lot of your own real pride. And you should be proud of what you get through.
Absolutely.
And you should be proud of how you get through things. But yeah, the holidays really suck when you lose somebody. The holidays really suck when you have to deal with Christian families or with families that you can't be there with, even though you love them. And it also kind of just sucks in late stage capitalism because there's all this pressure to buy presents, and a lot of us just can't afford those because we can't afford exactly like we can't afford like housing and healthcare, and yet there's still this pressure, whether you're Christian or secular, to like spend money you don't have to prove to people that you love them. It's
silly.
Yeah, it's silly, man.
But you know what you're saying about the learning that people actually believe stuff that was crazy, and I like what Seth Andrews says. He said I didn't get smarter suddenly when I let go of faith. I wasn't stupid before. I was just brainwashed.
Yep.
And when you let go of it and open your mind, and you start realizing how big the world is, because those of us that lived in any kind of fundamentalism, which all of us here did except you, Genevieve, it's such a small bubble, and you believe that you believe it's the big world, and then when you break out of that bubble and you start looking around, oh my God, there's actually science and stuff.
I had no idea how to make life decisions when I stepped outside that bubble. I was so what is the word? Infantilized.
Yeah.
I had no idea like how to actually make decisions without consulting a Bible for every fucking move.
Well,
and that's just
by
not
design. Yeah, that's by design. Y'all know I've written a book and my memoir, and it's just about ready. It's actually going to be out first of the year, but it's called Childish Things. And it's called that because it's based on a scripture in 1 Corinthians, which if you were true Christians, you know what it says.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I spoke like a child, blah, blah, blah. When I became a man, I put away childish things. The idea that the fundamentalism wants to keep you as an infant, thinking childishly, thinking as small, everything's come to me as a child. Don't trust your mind, all those things. And when you break out of that, you start thinking like an adult. You start realizing that there's a lot to learn. There's things out there. I mean, I remember, who was I talking to the other day? A friend of mine that was here, and he was an ex-pastor like me. We met in the Clergy Project. And we were talking about how we used to just blatantly distrust science. Anything science said, we were skeptical of it because it always went against the Bible.
They got an agenda. They have an agenda.
That's right. They're trying to take us away from God.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, think about the three things that, or the way the Bible refers to us if we are Yahweh's creation: children, slaves, and sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you sit down and you start to break those things down, it's like, no thanks, no thanks, no thanks. Fuck you, I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah, they want to keep you infantile, and that's by design. What's that, Promise?
Don't forget clay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just mold us
Yeah.
exactly
Who are
how
you
we
to
need
question
to be.
the? Who are you to question the potter?
Which
some
oh my gosh! While you say that, can I just shout out to Kristi? You made a beautiful video talking specifically about this verse.
Yes, she
And
did.
I'm not even gonna like dare to try to quote it verbatim, because you're so much better with words than I am. But I loved what you touched on as
What was
sort of
the gist of it, Kristi? What was the
please.
heart of it?
Well, so I was always, told that, the clay can't question the potter. Like it says in Romans, I think it also says it in Jeremiah. Jeremiah. We are clay and God is our potter. And if he is our maker, who are we to question him if he's the one making us? And that one, it got me for so long. It kept me stuck for so long because I did stay in that mindset where it was like, I can't question God. He made the rules. He created all this. I'm just along for the ride. I don't get to, question that. And then I don't know when it hit me, but one day it just hit me that it's such a bad analogy because I am not a piece of clay. I am a human being and I have experiences and I have a life that I've lived. I've got
That's the devil talking. That's the devil.
Yeah, I know, right? But when I realized this, it made me realize that if God did create me, if he is my potter and I am his clay, he doesn't get to blame me for not turning out the way he wanted me to, or the way he didn't want me to. And so, I just realized that, I absolutely can question and you can't blame me for questioning you. You're the one that made me, right?
Exactly. How dare a potter say, damn this clay, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, and I'm going to blame the clay and not myself.
Okay, but think about the whole story from the very beginning. I mean, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. How fast did that go off the rails? I mean, Jesus Christ!
Did he have no forethought?
You couldn't get two people through this thing.
Even in his own garden, his own sanctuary, he couldn't get it together.
And then a few chapters later, God damn, I hate all these people. I'm just going to drown the whole fucking bunch.
I regret doing this.
I know.
I'm killing all of you.
That damn tree.
And then a few chapters later, the tower bed, they're trying to climb their way to heaven. I'm going to have to disperse them and make them all languages where they can't understand each. I can't control these people.
So basically, knowledge is evil.
At what point does God realize that he's the one that's flawed and not the humanity he created?
Right.
Does it ever get back to him?
When does the creator have to stand accountable for his actions and his decisions?
Never.
And, one of the things, Apostle Mike, one of the first quotes when I was first deconstruction and deconverting, and he shared with me the quote, wherever it came from, but truth does not fear investigation. God, Yahweh, you big, mighty piece of shit that hides from everybody. If you really did all this shit, why are you so scared? If you're the truth, you're the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. If you are that, why do you fear us little human beings investigating who and what the fuck you are?
Why are you reporting my videos? Why are you trying to take down people's content? I'm sure your God can handle himself. He don't need you to do that.
Well, let's just go ahead.
It means so much, back during the biblical days. And then, we have mass genocides, we have Hitler, we have all of that. Nothing. Suddenly.
Crickets.
Yeah. Interesting.
That was very interesting.
Somebody in the chat asked about Promise's TikTok. Would someone be able to put that back up in the chat for us? So,
I already did.
Said I was Greg Locke's daughter, and I just want to clarify that I'm not.
I'm Joel.
That bad?
Can you imagine being his offspring? Oh my God.
God, no.
I got my own plane.
Maybe runner up here, but not quite on that level. And I do want to make sure that's no.
So Promise, tell us how long have you been? How long has your deconstruction process been? Give us a little background there on how and when you got out
Yeah.
and why. Basically, what happened?
I started thinking critically. Essentially, is what happened. I think I always did. As a kid, I loved to read. I loved to learn, and I was constantly that kid. You know, we'd go into a museum, and I'd be like, "This says it's like how many thousands of years old? That doesn't line up." And they would be like, "Well, scientists are trying to trick us," and
Yeah.
and then I'd be like, "Why?" You know. So I feel like those things were always there, and then I learned that in order to survive my childhood and my teen years, I needed to this was truth, and I needed to go with it. And so I did. And then fast forward through a lot. My story is really long. I was married twice, purity culture stuff. And I ended up at Bethel School of Ministry, for those of you who know.
Wow.
Bethel.
That shit crazy.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I ended up being a worship leader there. I was kind of like pushed into this position that I didn't even want. And I ended up becoming like your typical Bethel celebrity because they absolutely worship and like it's you're treated like a teen idol when you're a worship leader there. And it's a really small town. You can't go anywhere without somebody coming up and asking you to sign their Bible, like really weird shit.
What?
And because that already bothered me growing up as a pastor's daughter, I hated that. I hated when people wanted to like know me because of who somebody else was, not because of me. And so that started triggering a lot of questions. I was in a marriage that I was already questioning for lots of reasons. It was very toxic. And so I started putting all of that together. And then Trump was running for office and got elected. And I was like, what is happening? And my parents went from being very progressive Christians to suddenly like this deep dive into right-wing extremism. And I could not understand how I was supposed to make sense of all of this. It wasn't lining up with my personal values, none of it. So I ended up buying a one-way ticket back to the other side of the country from California over to Atlanta. And I didn't go back after that. And I literally left all of it. And I think all of my questions just kind of came to a head, and I couldn't rationalize any of it anymore. And I gave myself permission, you know, like if I'm leaving this ministry school overnight that I lead worship at every week for 1,500 people, and I'm not giving them any, like, I'm just like, bye, see you guys, this is crazy. I'm leaving a marriage and I'm just like, bye, this is crazy. Then what's my faith at this point? I might as well ask those questions. And I didn't get sufficient answers. And so that's where I
promise, you know, you're just running from God.
You did it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just Satan trying to pull you away.
And that
Right?
was immediately, you know, they had
Misled.
to literally like have meetings about me leaving because it was a big deal. And it was so sudden. And it, you know, immediately I was under the influence of witchcraft and I was deceived and I was, you know, all this sad stuff. And I was under a spirit of politics, all kinds of things. And that really, I was just like, wow, I know myself and I know none of that's true. And so you're making this even easier for me at this point.
Speaking of Atlanta, everybody, we're planning to gather there on Easter weekend to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Yay!
Oh, hallelujah.
At the American Atheist Convention.
I'm so excited.
So I'm hoping you guys can get there. There's a better than even chance that I'll be speaking there, but it hasn't been confirmed yet.
Oh, that would be
Oh,
so
I
cool.
hope
Oh, I hope
so.
so. Can we help at all? Do we need to like
Yeah.
call or email them or something?
Well, I got Matt Delahanty on it, so
Okay.
Well, it's done.
His is better than mine.
he's trying
If
to
you
get
need me to
in
get
there.
my tweeter fingers going, you let me know.
Well, he's talking to the leader. Anyway, whether or not I'm speaking is irrelevant. But we are planning to be there, and hopefully you guys can get there. We're all going to stay
I'm
at
going.
Promise's house. And
Oh, promise. Okay, I'm coming.
I was
Okay.
looking at Airbnb, but
yeah, no.
I mean,
Anyway,
I got a
Well-
2-bedroom place, so we can all squeeze in.
We'll just pile up.
no, we do want to hopefully see you guys there. Oz, you're the only
I'm
one I've
going.
actually met in person, and so we're gonna all meet soon, though.
Okay.
We got
Yay.
plans.
So excited.
yes.
Dave
Go
and I
ahead.
had a little bit of fun.
I was going to say, Dave, I don't mean to derail the conversation. There is one comment in the chat that I do want to get to, but before I go to
Okay,
that,
go ahead.
I have a question for Promise. When somebody asks you about the school that you went to, do you ever tell them that it was like Bethel's devotional school of ministry and they should go check it out at bdsm.com? Because if you haven't, I think you totally should.
I'm doing that from now on.
Please do. Just a suggestion.
Oh
I know
my
I'm
God.
a troll, but when the opportunity presents
That's
itself, you
perfect.
have to.
Thank you.
BDSM.com.
But there
Bethel
is,
Divine School of Ministry. That's it.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, that's some Harry Potter shit.
But really
It
quick,
is.
Jeff
Talk about
Garrett
witchcraft.
says,
Right.
Genevieve, I trust your opinion. What do you think of someone getting therapy? Really quick, I love therapy. Everybody should get therapy, but
Yes.
look for a therapist who actually has a degree and has the actual
Yep.
qualifications, because sometimes if you're coming from a Christian circle,
Ryan, your
they
lights
will
went out.
Ryan, we lost you.
I'm sorry.
But yes,
Pay the
so
electricity, Ryan. Pay the electricity.
there I'll just say really quickly, I'm sure you all know, coming from evangelical Christian backgrounds, which I do not, I still am well aware that there are plenty of like Christian therapists
God,
and
yes,
sort of like
no.
Christian counselors
Mhm.
that when you're talking to somebody about issues and you want to go see a therapist, they'll send you to them. Do
Yeah.
not go
Yeah.
there. It's
No.
a trap.
Jehovah's Witnesses do that. They have like a certain list of therapists that will kind of still keep people in the religion. Yeah.
Exactly.
Go to seculartherapy.com or seculartherapy. What is it? Secular therapy.
It's a
Recovering
wing.
from Religion should have it on there.
That's
Yeah.
it. Recovery
yeah,
from
recovering
religion.
from religion.
Recoveryfromreligion.org. Secular Therapy Project. That's the word I was looking
Yes,
for.
exactly.
And
That's
you
the
can
wing.
go to their website and plug in your address, and they will give you vetted. I mean, Daryl Ray is very careful about who they allow. I mean, there are people who are pretty secular in their therapy, but they don't use the right kind of therapy, and they won't let you on their site unless you are carefully scrutinized.
Yes.
So
And
you can trust them.
And the last thing I will say about that is that shopping for a therapist is a lot like dating. You might find a therapist who is totally qualified, but
It
you
takes
just
a
don't.
while
It
sometimes.
takes a while. You don't have to drive right away.
It can be disappointing.
Yeah,
It can be.
I went to a therapist I just went there because they were in network and close by, but it wasn't a good experience, and not because they weren't a good therapist for somebody else, but it just didn't work for me. Just really briefly, everybody needs a therapist. There's nothing wrong with therapy. You need somebody to help you think through things and clear your brain. But Dave,
Well,
please.
if you're in the Baptist church, you can just go to your pastor.
He's wrong.
Jesus is my therapist.
I will add to that. My therapist is actually a Christian. She's like a deconstructed Christian, and I literally don't know anything about her other than that. But it was like dating. I had some atheist therapists that it wasn't working for me, and she's so professional and she stays in her lane and just does her job. So you do have to shop around, like Genevieve said, and figure out, like, don't be afraid to move on. They're not threatened by that either. They're used to it. And just find somebody that's professional and trauma informed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if I could throw this out there, because this is with our channel, this is one of the main things that we do talk about is not just the deconstruction, deconversion, but the trauma, the abuse, trauma that happens, and the the therapy that follows after that. So my email for the channel is austin@tart.live, and we have several like secular / atheist therapists that I use personally, or that I'm in friendship with or have a relationship with, that we get people set up with. So even if you're not local, they can do remote until you find that person locally that fits the bill.
Awesome.
For you as you're doing that. So please, by all means, reach out. It's one thing I'm 100% passionate about. And then as far as the Atlanta thing, Mr. Warnock, we need to make sure. Well, I'll come down, and then we need to make sure we get Pasta Mike down there to film everything. That way, we can really celebrate Jesus properly.
Yeah, Oz, when we were in Austin at the Faithless Forum, Oz and Bevan and Sarah was her name. Sarah Dye. She's been on the show, or she's been in the chat room. We all went out and got down on 6th Street, and we got way lit. We got lit.
We got lit. Bro.
Dreamy.
You got fucking lit.
we got fucking lit, y'all.
I don't doubt that. I've been to 6th Street, y'all. Oof.
There was a question for Kristi. There it is. Did you or do you have any anxiety from moving back to the States. You recently moved back from Costa Rica to the States,
I
to
did.
a very red state, if I might add.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in the
Oh,
Bible
shit.
Belt now.
Where?
So I'm in the Bible Belt. I'm in
Oh,
Tennessee. So yeah, but no, there was no anxiety moving back to the States. I'm pretty happy to be here. I loved Costa Rica. It was a nice escape from like Trump America, you know, not having to see the billboards plastered everywhere and, you know, all of the nonsense. So I needed that break, but I like being back in the States. I don't mind being in the Bible Belt. I'm from Florida, and in my opinion, Florida is way worse than the
only
Bible
go up
Belt.
from
It
there.
really is. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty happy to be back. And I love seeing all the Christmas decorations. They don't have that so much in Costa Rica.
Yes, Cam, we will come back to Knoxville. Absolutely. Yeah, we're actually, speaking of therapy and trauma, we're going to have Dr. Marlene Winnell on the show upcoming next year, probably in January or February. Actually, it'll be after February. I've talked to her, and she's needing to wait till February or March, but she'll be coming on. She actually has done a lot of work and was the first to coin the phrase religious trauma syndrome, which is now an accepted condition in therapeutic circles. So she was one of the first to actually recognize that as a thing.
It is a thing.
Because we know it is a thing.
It is a
That's
thing.
amazing. I remember bringing up religious trauma syndrome to my mother in one of the last interactions that I had with her. I had written her a long letter explaining, you know, what I felt the church had done to me and what I felt like I had been through growing up in the church, and trying to get her to understand my point of view. And I had brought up religious trauma syndrome, and one of the only things she could think to write back to me was, I can't find any information on religious trauma syndrome. Is it recognized? So that's good to know.
You're going to have to look outside your church website to find it. It's probably not going to be in your denominational website.
No. Your church leaders are not endorsing religious syndrome.
No, I got cookies. This is not the last show of the year. We will have a show next week, and it will be our review and preview show. We'll review the last year and preview the upcoming year. We got a great bunch of stuff. We're starting off the year next year. Our first guest for the 2022 is none other than Aaron Ra, who was on my team he was on my team at a Bible trivia contest at the Faithless Forum.
Yes.
We crushed the competition.
I bet.
That's awesome.
So he'll be
Dave said he didn't answer a single question.
I was actually surprised Aaron didn't know very many of the answers. I kept turning to him. Do you want this one? I don't know. Okay, I got it. So
that's why I was being smart ass. Dave killed it.
I just remembered all that shit. I was kind of concerned with how much I remembered, because I was hoping to forget some of this stuff.
Oh, geez.
But it's lodged in there.
That reminds me.
It's like lyrics.
It is. It is.
It reminds me of my mom told me that when she and my dad would play Trivial Pursuit, if anything biblical came up, my dad would always just say Jesus, Noah, or Moses. Those are his only 3 answers.
What about
Abraham?
No.
Jesus, Noah, or those were the big 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
He'd only answer with those 3, and he's like,
I'm surprised Noah.
Right.
I am surprised Noah beat out Abraham. I mean, Abraham's the father of the faith.
He's the father, right?
Yeah, but Noah gets all the cute little kids stories with
the rainbow.
The water and the rainbow and
okay, let's just
all
pause.
The cute animals that were drowned.
Let's just pause. That's a cute little kid story with the drowning of the human race.
Yeah.
Is there anything wrong with that?
No.
No.
Jesus Christ.
It is better than killing your own child, though. So
yeah, what's better than Ryan is completely dark now.
Don't get me started on Abraham and Isaac as a father. That's my go-to. You, your God, the whole premise behind that.
But Abraham knew that God was going to provide.
He would raise him from the dead if he needed to.
Let me think.
Oh, there it is.
Babies, little babies getting ready to be drowned.
Oh my God!
Jesus
hey, you guys,
Christ.
have you guys seen Ricky Gervais' stand-up bit on Noah's Ark?
No.
Oh my God! YouTube it tonight. You will laugh until you cry. because he actually puts up
Gosh.
on.
I love
he-
Ricky Gervais. He's hilarious.
He's amazing. He actually puts up on the screen the Bible storybook like you just did, Rion, when he was a kid. And he starts going through the pictures and he just points out the lunacy of it. And he's just brilliant. You know, Ricky.
In that book, this is the 75 version, and the 74 version, they used to have a dinosaur. There used to be a dinosaur in the water because they believed the dinosaurs died in the flood, but they eventually took the dinosaur out. But you did see the woolly mammoth on the rock. The woolly mammoths went extinct also was the flood. So now you know facts.
That would fit on that little Ark of Noah's, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that all makes sense.
Yeah, y'all wait.
We should take an Ark excursion trip to Kentucky and see that.
Oh God.
Yes, please.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm so down.
I can't.
When I first got on TikTok, I have a follower who messaged me and said that if I ever want to go down to Kentucky, he can get me free tickets because he used to work there.
You know, we should do that. I hear you get in trouble if you start trying to video it.
I think.
and
Well,
Yeah, we would. They'd kick us out.
and there's a free thinkers group out of Cincinnati, which is really close to there. I spoke there a couple years ago. They do an annual. They go over there and they do a protest. They stand outside the Ark event with signs and said it's all bullshit and just because there was a lot of controversy because they gave tax. There was a lot of controversy with the building of that thing because they gave some public tax benefits to them as a
all
religious.
those places are such bullshit.
Yeah.
They should tax
what
the
was the
churches,
one-
right?
What
Tax
was
the churches,
people
right?
that owned the one tax the churches. My God, please, we could put that money to use instead of giving it to people so they can have jets to fly and colonize or whatever it is that they're doing with their money. I don't know.
They're sticking it in the walls apparently at Joel Osteen's church.
I was just going to say that, Dave. Not okay for money to fall out of the drywall. Like that's
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So real
it's
quick,
a
guys,
miracle.
we've got about 15 minutes left. We always have a sharp cutoff at 8:30 because Ethan has another show to do. But I wanted to get, I mean, you guys are all what would be known as atheist activists. You're putting out content on either on YouTube or TikTok or whatever your desired platform is. I'll go around. I'll call on you each one, but tell me why you're doing what you're doing. Why not just sit quietly and just mind your own fucking business, you angry atheist? Why do you have to stir up so much shit? I'll start with you, Promise. Why do you do
angry, Promise?
Why do you do what you do?
Evil.
Well, I think I got that comment like 5 times today already that I was answering. So I do it because I wish someone was there for me when I was walking through this. And I'm sure there were people that were. I didn't, find them as readily. There wasn't like hashtag deconstruction or hashtag evangelical. And it was really lonely. And I felt really crazy. And I felt like, am I just going from one side to another? Like, what am I doing here? And I just think there's a lot to be said about having someone there that says, I have experienced this and I have had these thoughts and I have had these family dynamics and I have walked through this. And so my goal, if I can help one, person deconverting or deconstructing feel less lonely, then that's more than I could ask for. And if I can help one Christian start thinking more critically, even if it doesn't lead to deconversion or something, but just to think a little more critically, just to think a little bit more kindly.
Yeah, the critical thinking. Yeah, ask the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, just to spark, because I remember for me, one of the things that started the spark of deconstruction is I was friends with it. Somehow friends with an atheist on Facebook that was constantly posting, like an activist, constantly posting stuff, like really intense memes, like kind of the more angry atheist stuff. And I would be like, oh, they're so deceived. And then I would sit back and be like, how would I answer that? And so if I can do that in a way, and even in a more like chill, subtle way, then that's worth it to me. So
yeah, that's good. What about you, Oz?
Well, what had happened was I just with everything that I watched and experienced, and I'm speaking more of the abuse and the trauma part, not just the indoctrination. Everything that I experienced or had to watch happen to family members and things like that. When I walked away, and plus Mike brought it up in the chat earlier, but originally on YouTube and like TikTok, my username, screen name was the atheist asshole, because I was in that angry atheist, and I was coming in hot, guns blazing, right? Because of all the shit that had happened. And now, I've matured and grown, but I'm as frequent and as loud as I possibly can be, so that there are other people that know that, holy shit, there are others that are going through this. There are that have experienced this, because I remember some of the very, very lonely nights where I felt like I'm doing this all by my goddamn self. And now I lost all my friends, my sphere of influence. I fucking lost everything. And all of a sudden this world got opened up to me, that it's like, holy shit, I have a bunch, these can be my friends. These could be my fucking friends, and it was beautiful. It was, because I didn't know it existed. Right. So that's why I try to be as active and loud and consistent as I can possibly be, so that hopefully we can, our channel, we can at least be that for one person.
Yeah.
That's right. That's good. Yeah. You lose a lot of community when you break from the tribe, and finding a new community that gets you and that is like-minded is a big deal. Promise, there was a question for you. Do you wear your shirt in public, and what kind of response do you get if you do?
I love that shirt.
What's
Can
it
I
say
see
again?
it?
Hey guys,
Heathen season. That's so cool.
Okay, where did you get it? I need it.
I just got it. My partner works for an apparel company. They do custom apparel. And so he was like, what do you want? And so he just made it for me. And I was like, I want this. So it is custom.
Wow.
Well, I think you could sell some tonight if you want to.
Yeah.
Right?
You
Should have thought this through better. I just got it, so I haven't worn it in public, but I totally would. Now, would I wear it like to work? Probably not, because I still do live in the South. I live in a progressive city in the South. I live in Atlanta, but it's.
I challenge you to wear it to Walmart. Come on, girl.
Yeah.
That might be. I should film it. But yeah, I for Halloween this year, I dressed up as a haunted nun. And that was my first time, like, actually doing something controversial with my apparel. So since then, I'm like, well, whatever, I can do what I want. So
that's right, you can. So, Kristi, why do you do what you do?
To piss off the Christians. No, I'm just kidding. I don't
you stole my answer.
Yeah. That's what they think. That is what they think. No, so my TikTok bio says that I am just planting seeds. And that is something that they used to say to me in the church was plant seeds of faith.
God gives the increase.
Exactly. Tell people about Jesus, plant those seeds. And so now I've kind of turned that around on them. And, just like Oz and Promise said, I felt very lonely in my deconstruction. It was not called deconstruction at that time. This was a decade ago. I just knew that I didn't believe, and I had to rely on shows like The Atheist Experience. I watched a lot of Matt Dillahunty, and that helped me feel less alone in my journey. And I first got on TikTok because I used to do show notes for Truth Wanted, Janae CA show.
Oh,
Dave was on the show one night talking about TikTok and how he, had a lot of good conversations on TikTok there. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to try it. I think I'm going to get on TikTok and see what
I got you on TikTok? No fucking way.
That's really cool.
Yes.
Wow.
But you've got a lot more followers than I do because you actually make content. I don't. Bevan will say, have you done a TikTok lately? And I said, oh God, I got to do one. What should I talk about?
Well, I had been posting like on Facebook and Instagram. I had a blog that I was writing, and Facebook is not a good place to talk about this stuff. If just, your little community bubble is on it, especially your religious community bubble. And I kind of felt like my voice didn't matter, that nobody really cared what I had to say and nobody was listening. And then I got on TikTok and I found this huge community of people that actually wanted to connect and hear me out and have conversation. Yeah. So, you know, I always say that I am here to encourage critical thinking and to fight against church abuse. You know, what I went through, I don't want other people to have to go through. And if I can help prevent that in some even small way, to me, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, I see comments. The atheist experience has been extremely helpful for so many people who are saying that. I told Matt that the other day. Matt's going through, y'all may know he's very public about it, but he's having open heart surgery Wednesday.
Oh my God.
Wednesday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I just, you know, Matt can be Matt. You know, he can go all Matt on somebody, I call it.
No.
What, you fucking idiot. We're done. But Matt's got the biggest heart, and he's such a good guy. And I've told him several times recently that, dude, I don't know if you realize how many people you have helped.
He's helped me.
Have helped open their minds to think more critically about things that are true and not true. And I feel like sometimes he gets so much heat that he can sometimes forget or maybe not realize all the good that he's done over the years. 16 and a half years he's been doing that show. And hundreds, I've met dozens of people personally who said, yeah, he was the guy that got me thinking differently and helped me to get my mind right. So you guys be thinking about Matt and send him a message on Facebook or whatever. Just, you know, it's a tough week for him. I don't know if he watches this show unless he's on it. So, but he's such a good guy and I really love him. Yeah. So Rion, why do you do what you do?
The demons make me do it.
Here you go. Come out.
Jesus, I am Legion.
Oh my God, that looks scarily real.
You're amazing. I love you so much.
If you vomit right now, I'm closing this.
It's my head.
Everywhere.
But honestly, the Christians who watch my TikTok probably would say it is the demons who control me. They actually do say it's the demons that control me.
Yep.
But I mean, pretty much what like Kristi and Promise say, I always felt so out of the loop. Nothing really made sense to me. No one could really answer my questions. And I feel like just after living in that box for so long, it really ate away at my mind.
Yeah.
I was not able to really function or think properly. There's so many things that I'm still realizing that I have an affinity for, or I don't like because of the things that I was taught. And I just want people who grew up like me, who maybe question things, didn't fit in, that it's okay. You're safe. You don't have anything to worry about. You don't have to worry about hell. It's going to be okay. There's all these thoughts about the subject. So how can this one person be right, you know, who wrote something 400 years after the supposed Jesus lived? And that I hope that I can bring some solace to people, because I know I didn't have it. I mean, I know I really had ideology of I was going to die at any moment. I kind of wanted to die at any moment because I just didn't think I was worthy of this life. And I don't want any other people to live their life like that. I want them to be okay. And I want them to enjoy the life they have, because it's the one we know we have.
Yep.
Versus focusing on something that we have no idea about, and take care of the planet.
I love that.
Yes. Yeah. And I really think that a lot of times some of the ideologies lead us to abuse the planet also, because we think that God is going to be some kind of rescuer
and another.
Oh, he's going to burn everything. He's going to burn it all up anyway and start a new heaven, new earth. So what difference does it make? Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Which
well, I appreciate all you guys do. I mean, you guys are making a difference.
Me too. I love all you guys.
Yeah. No. And Genevieve, I love how you just jumped into this cesspool of religion,
I love it too.
Not having done it. That's one thing that appealed to Jen. When I first started seeing her content on TikTok, I loved her angle. She wasn't coming from like where so many of us have come from and coming out of that stuff. And she just saw the danger of it. and wanted to get involved in that conversation. And so
Mhm.
I thought it'd be a great combo for me and her to
It's a
approach.
great perspective. It's a great
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
I think we need more people like Genevieve who
Yes.
didn't come from the trauma, because a lot of times that trauma can kind of, bring the emotions
Absolutely.
into
Yeah.
the mix. And I think a lot of people that weren't born into it and experienced it are kind of maybe apathetic about it, because
Yeah.
they don't really care. They're like, I want to live my life. You live your life. And I think
Bring
it's
them
important
into it.
Yeah.
more
I mean,
Show them what it's
people.
about.
you know,
Mhm.
I mean, I'll just say really quickly. I mean, I'm on the show every week. Most of you hope watching, unless you're new, you kind of know my jam. But that's kind of really why I started talking about this in the first place. It was kind of a confluence of things. Being a lifelong atheist, moving from San Francisco to Maryland, which is, very progressive, but still it's my first sort of introduction to Christianity. It was the first time people proselytized, and I kind of like made jokes about it. I was like, oh, like this is like Sky Daddy stupid. Like, I never took it seriously. Moving to the Bible Belt and really becoming really family with people who I realized were like Southern Baptists who really kind of opened my eyes to what Christianity can be and what they really believe and how different the world is to a large swath of this country. Couple that, it was the same exact year that I started working in politics and sort of seeing how evangelical Christianity was influencing right-wing politics and ergo politics across the nation.
Yeah.
When I started having these conversations with people, I talked to various individuals, many of whom had left the church. And when I asked them questions about their experience, or wait, did you guys really believe this? Like, they would kind of shudder and they wouldn't want to talk about it. They said, look, I grew up in a cult. I don't want to think about it. It's kind of a trauma that you can bury. And I know that for a lot of people who have deconstructed, I mean, as you all know, it's fucking hard. And even when you are intellectually done with it, you can still have these lingering fears. And sort of like these wounds from believing that you're broken, believing that you're damned, believing that you'll never see your loved ones, and even if intellectually this isn't true, that's not how emotions work. It can still tether
It's a
you
lifelong
there.
journey.
It really is.
So that's why I first
Unpacking it
started.
all.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
first really got into talking to ex-Christians because I can talk about this stuff without having that emotional,
well, I appreciate your perspective, Genevieve, because a lot of atheists who never were Christians can't really relate to those of us. They just look at us as stupid.
And don't necessarily even want
Yeah.
to sometimes.
How could you have been so
Doing is
stupid?
pointless.
That kind of thing.
No.
And they really are
Yeah.
dismissive about it. Anyway, we're going to run out of time. But Oz, we've mentioned the ladies' TikToks. Your YouTube channel, give us that so you guys need to be following Oz and and get your TikTokers to follow Oz. He has a lot of great content. What is the channel, Oz, on YouTube?
It is the Atheist Network Group. But I'm just going to say that real quick. And I actually just want to give a shout out to Pasta Mike real quick, because he's exactly what you guys were just talking about, where he's a cradle atheist, and he, even as of recently, being my best friend, my brother, walking through all this shit, was like, I didn't understand what this was until I knew you. I didn't understand what this looked like until I knew you. And not only that, Pasta Mike and just Jeffrey, you guys know him as Atheist Troll, Murder Shed Steve, all this. Like, they're the OGs of TikTok.
I love Atheist Troll.
3 and 4 years, right? And I remember when we were on there, like, where are the other atheists? Because we're getting hammered right now. Like, we're the only ones on here. And now but it is beautiful to see.
There's a lot of us now.
Everybody, like, it is
community.
to see that.
Yeah, it's really growing.
When we first started, that was not the case. And
thank you for paving the way.
No kidding.
I sucked at it. It was Pasta and Atheist Troll, but I want to give them the shout out and the love they deserve, because they were the they were doing that shit.
And host, when we sign off in a minute, you don't have to leave. The show will stop at 8:30, which is right now, but it'll stop recording. But you can hang if you want to hang in there, and we'll chat after the show offline. But Chad Harris, I see your comment. that you love this show. How can it fly under the radar? It's not. It's ruling YouTube.
We're here.
Um,
Share with your
but
friends.
we only just started September, so we're kind of a new show.
Yeah.
But anyway, we appreciate your support. He said he came here because of Promise. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah. Anyway,
Buddy.
we do have to go, and I thank you guys are all great. I just love you guys so much and all the stuff you're doing. And I just feel like, I know you, and we're going to do this again.
Yes,
and
please.
probably have each of you
Yeah.
on separately throughout the next year, just to have more of your story and
We'd
and
love that.
actually take calls and stuff, because it really is a different angle when you take a call, because you don't know what's coming in, and it can be fun, it can be crazy, it can be anything. But hang on if you can, and we will chat afterwards. But folks, thanks for tuning in tonight, and we love you, and we'll see you next week. And that's our show
Bye,
for this week.
everybody. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Happy holidays.
Bye.